Dead Space 2 takes place in a location called the Sprawl. It takes place 3 years after the original game. It's a space city that got built up on one of the moons around Saturn. The moon's called Titan. If you go back in history to like the gold rush days, you'd think, okay, they discover gold and then all of a sudden a city kind of pops up around that area. And so the Sprawl kind of evolved in a very similar way. They found a place to mine resources, and then people started to kind of congregate there and then build up this big city.
Is he alive?
In the original game, Isaac kind of stumbled upon this infestation, and it was just like, holy shit, what's going on? In this game, when the outbreak happens, Isaac has a little bit of a history with these necromorphs, so he's a little bit more confident in the way to kind of deal with them. We're very proud of what we did with Dead Space. We're very proud of the franchise, and it would be ridiculous for us to step away from our roots. From the terror and the horror and the suspense and the tension and all those elements that made that game fun and really resonated with people is what we want to deliver. So I'm not sure why people think that we're going in some kind of wacky run and gun direction. That's not the case. I think what we're really focused on is making Dead Space 2 the very best Dead Space game it can be, and that's going to come through refinements of what we have there.
There's so much shit in my head.
One of the new things that we're doing is really playing up more interactivity in the environment. We actually wanted to have situations where interacting with the environment could be used strategically against enemies. So imagine you're coming into an area that's very dark, dimly lit. Maybe there's one light source, there's a standing floor lamp or something. A necromorph might run through it, knock it, create all these cool shadows, and then create more of a challenge because now you're in a darker area, really relying on the light source on Isaac's weapon of choice to take care of those guys. So that's one way. In the previous game, Kinesis was a little bit slower, so when you tried to pick up an object, it took a little while to line it up, and by then the necromorphs were beating the crap out of you. So in Dead Space 2, Kinesis is much snappier, so you can grab something really quick and then fire it off. Now we've kind of stepped it up a notch on the gruesome element, and you can actually, stab them with these big pointy pieces of metal or even their severed limbs and nail them up to surfaces. So that's very different. And then the last thing that I showed you was decompression. So again, you're out in space, and one of the big things for Dead Space is we're all about real space, real terror. Well, it makes sense that when you're out in space, there's a chance that you could cause an accident that might decompress an area and remove all the atmosphere and suck things out. So maybe there's an enemy standing right in front of the glass and it's darkly lit and you don't know, and you fire off a shot and you're not being accurate. You're just shooting wildly. Well, now you've got this whole other layer of stuff to deal with in the environment. You're trying to not get sucked out into the vacuum of space. So that's another one of the ways that we've kind of changed the game a bit and added more interactivity to the environments.
Where are you going?
Audio is critical in Dead Space, and really in Dead Space and in Dead Space 2, we're focused on making sure that the audio provides gameplay tells, so that people know, okay, I hear a particular roar of an enemy, okay, that tells me I have to use this type of strategy to defeat him. The littlest of sound can be a cue that tells a player, okay, this is going to happen, or for that matter, might fake you out. You might hear a sound and expect something to happen, but it doesn't. So it really keeps you on your toes. It keeps you fully engaged with all of your senses, not just the visuals, but also, listening to the game. So that's really important. We bring back all the original tools, and we've got a whole bunch of new ones this time out. The javelin gun's kind of like a more powerful nail gun, so to speak. So I was able to actually impale enemies and nail them to surfaces or nail them to the ground, and then the alt fire on that actually allowed me to either electrocute or burn the enemy. So that was one application. The other one was I was able to shoot some of those javelins into the ground, and then as multiple enemies came towards me, I could use it as kind of an area of effect. The detonator is kind of more of almost similar to a trip mine, where you can actually create a perimeter or create an area in front of you where you can try to lure the necromorphs into and dismember them. You will see Isaac's face, he will speak, and maybe you'll hear some thoughts from Isaac in the game. Dead Space 2 will be out on Xbox 360 and PS3 soonish in the future.
Isaac, we're all gonna burn for what we did to you.